Hello and welcome to Behind the Lines. I'm Diane Dayton. Today we're going to talk about music for everyone, the difference it is making in our schools and the difference that it's making here in our community. And with us right now, we have the founder and the executive director, Dr. John Gerdy. Thanks for being with us today.
Great to be here.
This started, what, in about 2006, is that right?
In 2006, yes. At that time, I started doing a lot of the research into how funding and resources were being cut in school music programs and community music programs. And at the same time that was going on, I was doing research about how valuable music is as an educational and community building tool. And it was just, which grows every day. And to me, it just made no sense. It was like going like this. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, on the principle of thinking globally and acting locally, gathered some friends together and said, come on, let's try to do something about this in Lancaster. And so in 2006, we formed Music for Everyone, and our mission is to cultivate the power of music as an educational and community building tool.
Wow, for education and community building, and they really are all tied together. It's also a nonprofit, right?
Yes.
So it's raising awareness and also resources are what you offer too.
Yes, so what we do is, I think we have a unique model, and this is how we go about it. The first thing we do is we go to school leaders, education leaders, and community leaders, and we ask, what are your needs? Where are the gaps? You know, where are the shortfalls? And then how can we help? So we ask what the issues and problems and where the gaps are, and then we turn to the community and say, hey, do any of these things, you know, ring your chime? And if so, give us your resources, your time, your effort, your talent, volunteer, write a check, whatever. And what we do is we then take those resources and we strategically, effectively, and efficiently invest those resources in our schools and community arts groups.
This is no small task.
No, well, you know, the one thing you find out the more you get it, there are a couple of things when you start something like this. The first thing is, you know, what's your 1-minute elevator speech? And I think people intrinsically understand the value of music because they've probably experienced it themselves. And they also sort of get pretty quickly that these things are really being cut dramatically. And then the second thing is you do the research and you try to figure, you think there's a need there, but until you really get your fingers dirty and get involved, you don't really know how severe that need is. And the one thing that we've found is that the more we get involved, the more we realize, boy, those gaps are big and they're growing. So we've been fortunate, a lot of people have been very generous and supportive of what we do. And we've been able to, you know, do a lot of good things, but there's so much more to accomplish.
Yeah, you've gotten some grants that you've used wisely. Tell me about those.
Well, again, our mission is to cultivate the power of music as an educational and community building tool. On the education side, we do everything from, we started out simply awarding grants to schools to buy instruments and repair instruments. For example, this past year, we're at a point now where this past year we awarded almost $90,000 in grants. And we're Lancaster County focused and based to schools and community arts groups in Lancaster County. Then what happened was the more we got involved, we realized that you can give an orchestra of 30 or a class of 30, every kid a brand new instrument, but if there's only one teacher, those instruments aren't going to be able to unleash their musical and educational magic. So what we've also done now, this is our third year, totally new program called MFE in the schools, where we raise money, we underwrite professional musicians to go into the schools, work alongside teachers directly with students to address what I call the instructional or mentoring gap. And we even have a program where we, for example, we partner with Millersville University and we provide four $2,000 scholarships to music education teachers, future music teachers, and in exchange they go in to the schools and work alongside teachers and directly with students. The reason why the education component is so important, though, is this. If you boil it all down, every issue we face, whether as a city, a town, a region, a state, a global community, or a nation, a global community, whether it's healthcare, the environment, global politics, whatever it is, in this increasingly fast-paced world in which we live, all those issues and challenges are going to become increasingly complex. And the only way we're going to be able to effectively address those increasingly complex issues and challenges is by developing in our populace a corresponding increase in creativity. Thinking out of the box, thinking at a higher level. And the most effective tool that we have in our educational community toolbox to teach creativity, to think at a new level, think at a higher level, is music. So that's why our investment in education is so important.
And music is the universal language.
It certainly is. Its ability to bridge gaps of all sorts is unparalleled, really. It presents all types of educational and community building opportunities.
And for you personally to do this, let's tell a little bit about your background and why this makes so much sense that you're doing what you're doing right now.
Well, I've always been involved in education. Always, my father was a high school teacher. My mother worked in the school system. My sister is a teacher, and I was involved in college athletics. And I was involved in college athletics at the NCAA level in the Southeastern Conference. I was associate commissioner of the Southeastern Conference. But I was always involved. It really wasn't the sports. To me, it was utilizing sport as a vehicle to teach, an educational tool. So I've always sort of believed in that and been involved in that. And then with the birth of our first child in 1995, I left that, stay-at-home parent. And now that the kids are older, they don't need bat around as much. And so I had this opportunity to go, what's next? And I'd been a lifelong musician. And my, the link between music and music education and my lifelong commitment to education, this made a lot of sense. And so that's when I started doing the research and formed MFE.
Okay. We've seen some around the city, some keys.
Yes, Keys for the City. That's a interesting program. It's provided a lot of visibility and pretty successful. But we 5 years ago, we just finished our 5th year, and what happened was I heard about it I think it was in London, and I came back to my board and said, you know what, we're going to put 10 pianos out in the streets, and we're going to leave them there all summer, and people are going to play them and bring people together, and it builds community in that way. One of my board members said, you know what, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to put 20 out, and we're going to paint all of them, design all of them. I said, you're crazy. But it was an interesting story because when we first announced that, everyone thought we were absolutely nuts. Everybody said, there's no way those pianos are going to last a week before they're vandalized. And what our message was from the beginning was that, we believe in people's better angels. We believe the people of Lancaster County are caring, are thoughtful, appreciate the arts, and that they would take care of those. And they were on the streets for 4 months, 24/7. And at the end of those 4 months, we had one incident of vandalism. And the story at that point was, no, wait a second now, what a tremendous community we live in. Everyone took care of them. We live in a wonderful place. And what happened is Lancaster really became a source of pride, and people really invested in them. So we've just finished our 5th year, and we can claim that Lancaster is the street piano capital of the world, based on a lot of metrics. But the main thing is that throughout the course of the summer, there are literally tens of thousands of magical musical moments that occur around those pianos. Just random moments. You're walking down the street and someone's playing Chopin, or you're walking down the street, there are a couple kids just banging on it, playing chopsticks. So it's been really fun, and it's been a successful program for us.
It's been a fantastic way to reach out to the community, and I know it's been fun walking downtown and hearing some of this and seeing who's there whenever. Yeah.
Well, and again, and the reason why, that's the community building aspect of our mission. And the reason why that is important is because, again, so in this world we live in today, in a lot of ways we become disconnected.
Yes.
Everybody's sort of doing their own thing. And in that kind of environment, it's important that as a community we have things that bring us together. And again, music's ability to do that, bring people together, again, is unparalleled.
It is. We're going to put your website up on the screen. Tell us what we're going to find there.
Well, you're going to find, it's kind of funny, we are, up until about 6 or 8 months ago, we were an all-volunteer organization, and we've just now hired a part-time person. But I think you'll see a lot of things. And people are always amazed that, they know about the pianos, they know about us giving grants to schools, but they don't know about things like the MFE Community Chorus, which is a group that meets once a week, open to anyone, and they sing, and it started with 7 people, and now there are over 125 people. But they've built this tremendous community We have a ukulele group, similar type thing.
Okay.
Started with 3 people, now it's up to
Wow.
25 people. But again, it's using music as a way to bring people together. We do crazy things like, you know, we have a program where any school, that if they have an orchestra or ensemble that wants to record a song, we partner with Millersville University, and we will, if they can get them to campus,
Right.
we'll pay for them to go into a studio and cut a song.
That's
I
excellent.
mean, everything to try to build the self-esteem
Yeah.
of kids and provide them opportunities to perform.
There are a lot of elements to music for everyone, and we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about that and why it's so successful. Stay with us. Welcome back to Behind the Lines. We're talking about music for everyone. Dr. John Gerdy, you are the founder and the executive director. And what's wonderful about this program, there's so many elements. When you get kids performing, it's so much about self-esteem.
Oh, absolutely.
And you do that through the performances as well for these kids, right?
Right. One of the things that we have found, and again, these are things that the more you get involved in, the more you say, oh, there's a need over there and there's something else over there. But we started to realize that it wasn't enough just to give a kid an instrument. It wasn't enough just to have someone help mentor them and provide lessons or ensemble help or whatever. But we also realized that it's important to try to create opportunities for kids to perform in public. Because the ability for those situations to build self-esteem in kids, it's when you get immediate feedback for something that you've invested in and you've practiced at, I mean, it's really, really, you get a real charge out of it because you can just see it on their faces. And you get comments from teachers a lot, and one of the things that, a comment we get more and more is that, you know, it used to be like being in a string orchestra or whatever, that wasn't so cool. Now it's starting to get to be pretty cool. These kids start to think it's pretty cool, and so therefore, the more kids are becoming involved, and we actually have a group, we also have an after-school program. We call it the MFE Strings, where these are kids that our music mentors work with during the school day, but also these are kids who want more, who really want to take it to the next level. And so we have an after-school program where they meet once a day, and you know, get for kids who really want to take it to the next step, and they perform a lot in public too.
Okay, so the self-esteem, I mean, this is a life lesson, what they're learning. It spills into everything.
Yes.
And you also provide concert series workshops as a part of the program, is that correct?
Right. We also underwrite different groups to go into schools and do workshops and performances. We also partner again with Millersville University, where we have a series where they have all kinds of ensembles, but they now go in about once a month and go to a different school, whether it's their flute ensemble or string ensemble or whatever. So a lot of it is building synergies and reaching out to different organizations and saying, come on, let's partner on this or let's partner on that, because you know, together you build synergies and you can have a much more powerful impact. But the thing about music that's so interesting, and the data on this is just, it's coming out virtually every day, more data about this, is the impact that involvement with music has on educational and outcomes, personal outcomes. Everything from, you know, building self-esteem, everything from kids who are more involved in music programs, better attendance, better grades, better test scores, fewer disciplinary problems. Because, you know, again, music is the universal language, but you know, music is math, music is reading, music is a foreign language in a lot of ways. Yes. Music is logic. All of those things, that involvement, and the data is clear on this and it's growing, that involvement in music programs you know, really enhances those skills in the individual. And again, there's a whole idea of creativity, thinking out of the box.
Right, and we know how key that is.
Absolutely. In today's world, in today's interconnected world, global community, global economy, it's those people who are going to be able to, I mean, some people say that the jobs of the future, you can't even envision them yet. They're going to be making them up because things are moving so rapidly, and with technology and everything. And music, again, is a key factor. It's the most powerful vehicle in our educational arsenal to teach these kinds of things.
Well, I like the fact, too, that this isn't just during the academic year, but you also have a summer program, too, to keep connected, right?
Correct, yeah. I mean, our music mentors are connecting with the kids all the academic year, but we also have summer camps where we identify kids and put them all in. They're all scholarship kids. We raise the money, and so we're able to underwrite it. But yeah, we have 2 weeks of summer camp where these kids, again, staying in touch with them, providing them another outlet. Other things we do in terms of the community building stuff during the summer is we partner with the city of Lancaster, and you know, for years they had been trying to build, you know First Fridays, right?
Yes.
Where everybody comes down. It's based sort of around the visual arts. Well, they had been trying for years to get a similar type activity on third Fridays and call it Music Fridays. Well, it had been sort of struggling. Finally, we came to them and said, about 6 years ago now, came to them and said, you know, if there's any organization in town that should be partnering with you to try to make this get some traction, it should be us. And so we asked them for a space in town, and they gave us a space, and we said, okay, we're going to put on a main stage concert there on third Fridays. And we did, and that's grown, and so now what we've done, we've expanded it. So now in third Fridays from May through September, if you go downtown Lancaster, we have a main stage concert. We've worked with bars and galleries and restaurants to promote, to get live music.
Right.
But when you put the pianos down there, like last year we had 14 pianos, and we also underwrite street performers, up to about 20, 25 street performers. Okay. So when you, on different street corners and alleyways, so when you go down to downtown Lancaster on a third Friday from May through September, literally within a 6 or 7 block area, you're going to be able to see 40, 50 different music acts. And slowly people are starting to come downtown. And again, there's also an economic development part of this.
Sure.
Lancaster is trying to build itself and brand itself as an arts destination, and as the arts as an economic driver. And we feel things like our involvement with Music Fridays, Keys for the City, those types of things are adding sort of another brick in the wall, to quote Pink Floyd, another brick in the wall towards Lancaster's efforts to build itself as an arts destination.
You had a wonderful spread in Fig magazine. Tell me about that.
Well, that was interesting. They came to us and they said, we want to do the first ever music edition in Lancaster for Fig in Lancaster. And they said, we'd like to highlight you guys. And we said, man, that's great. And particularly when they said we would help raise the money to underwrite the advertisements. And so they were real generous, and so we were able to put together a nice spread that explains, a lot of the things that we do, and it was really good for us to be able to do that.
Yeah, and the future of Music for Everyone also includes some merchandising,
right? You can now, we now have an official outlet in Lancaster at Building Character, which is on North Queen Street, where you can go and buy MFE gear and merchandise, and then we're also shortly, within about 2 weeks or so, we're going to start an online merchandising operation where you can go to our website, musicforeveryone.net, and purchase our gear. And again, all of this money goes to, the more money that we can raise, the more resources and awareness that we can raise, the more we can invest in our schools and our community.
And as you continually look at assessing needs and trying to fill those needs, the sponsors are a big part of that too.
Yeah, we've been, again, the reason why we've been so successful, and first of all, when you talk about needs, those needs are going to grow. I mean, that's clear. By all indications, the gaps that we have are going to grow. The funding is going to continue to be cut. And so it becomes increasingly important that we are able to raise and attract those funds to continue to make those investments. But yeah, we've been very generous. I mean, the people of Lancaster have been extremely generous with us. And that's humbling because we know that there are so many worthy causes in our community. So we take that responsibility very seriously, and I think we're very lean, and I think we're really efficient in how we invest. But yeah, sponsors like the Tom and Gina Rousseau Foundation, they were the lead sponsors and helped us establish MFE in the schools. Okay. The Steinman Foundation, Pennsylvania Council on the Arts. There are just a lot of people, and we're finally at a point now where we're able to begin to attract more grant money, or at least open the door for grant funding as we become more, as we've established our track record. And our track record is good, because what we're finding out, the one thing that we did was pretty smart. When we started giving grants, we also asked the school to track those kids. And what we're finding out now, we're starting to get the data, is the kids that are involved in these programs, again, better test scores, better grade point averages, fewer disciplinary problems, better attendance, all those kinds of things, because kids want to be involved in something. Kids want to be a part of something, and kids really respond when you show them the attention. And again, music is a tremendous way to do that.
Yeah, it really is. We're going to put the website up on the screen again. You can find out everything, Music for Everyone, and also you can also pick up some of the wonderful merchandising items as well. What a difference you're making in schools in our community. I applaud the effort that you're doing.
Well, thank you. There's a lot of people who help make that happen.
Yeah. We're going to take a brief pause, and we come back. We're going to have some final thoughts, so stay with us. We've been talking today about Music for Everyone, and you exist. Why, John?
Well, sort of to recap, I mean, because music is such an important and powerful educational and community building tool, at the same time there's cuts going on all across the board. And we have to come together as a community to partner, build synergies, raise resources, to build those, to fill those gaps. And that's one of the things I think we do pretty well. We're really about reaching out to community and trying to build bridges and build synergies to bring the community together to meet this need. But again, the gaps are going to continue to grow. So it's important that we continue to have the generous support of the community. And hopefully what we will continue to do is really strategically and efficiently and effectively invest those resources to bring positive returns. In fact, we're really at a point now where we're starting to realize that, these same issues are occurring in every single community throughout the country. And we're trying right now to figure out a way to possibly be able to offer sort of affiliate memberships to other communities throughout the country, because I think we do have a unique model. And our unique model is about, first and foremost, finding the gaps and then strategically investing resources to fill those gaps.
And I'm really glad you're here in our community. Thank you for taking time today and letting us know the difference that you're making in our community.
Right, thank you.
We'd like to say thank you for joining us today, too. I'm Diane Dayton with Behind the Lines. And remember, keep looking behind the lines. You might be surprised what you find.